Hey guys. Okay, so I had this dream and I needed to just speak it because there's so much going on um in the world, and I think that maybe we've lost sight of like the bigger picture. And to me, I see everything that's happening in the world as like the restoration of America. And I know that sounds crazy, but really if you look at like I had kind of like a word from God in my sleep, and it was um, that there's a reason why Donald Trump did not win the last election. And because to me, I thought that was crazy. I was like, who in their right mind? How many people voted for this guy who can't even talk? I mean, it was crazy to me. But I got this word that there's a reason why that happened, and you know, I think that just brings me a little bit of peace in knowing that how crazy things are going in America. But really, it comes down to um, understanding that the whole reason that Donald Trump did not win the election is to expose all of this corruption that's really going on. And see, he represents freedom to a control system. They can't control him. And that scares control. Freedom scares control. So you've got these control systems who are used to doing it their way. They've got their systems, they've got their corruption, they've got their favors that they give to get their money. And he represents freedom, and um, he's truly out to restore America, right? And so they're doing everything they can right now to bring that down because that's not okay. But what obviously we can't control anything that's going on with that. We can just watch it. But to me, it's really, if you look at the bigger picture, everything that's being exposed is showing where the corruption really is, where people are like in control, where people think they have this false sense of control. And I think it's funny that it's those people who are attacking, um, who are the ones who are trying to hide something or they don't want to lose something. It's fear based, right? So, what can we do um, as individuals, right? You can stand your ground to anything that comes against you. So, when you shine your light, you're going to have people who come against you and tell you that that's not okay to be like that. And, you know, like there's a time where I have been afraid to speak out because what happens is these people want to silence you, which is exactly what they're trying to do to him, right? To absolutely silence him. And when you are not able to be silenced, when you still speak against that, that is, you're choosing freedom of speech over controlling, over censorship, right? And so that's super important for anyone right now. Make sure that you choose freedom of speech so that you keep your freedom of speech, so that we all keep our freedoms. The most important thing is having our constitutional rights and our freedoms um, protected. And the reason that is because if you understand what it looks like is happening out there, it's this like socialist takeover, really, to where they're making you dependent on their systems in every way, shape, and form. And that's not America, right? Like, when you have to be dependent on the government or the system or someone else for your needs, that's not what America stands for, right? So, it's in those choices that you make and I make every single day that keep this country free, that keep us energetically, choosing freedom, right? So, um, you know, for me, it's needing to speak out and say what I need to say about, um, my spiritual words or um, whatever I feel like I need to talk about in that moment. It's creative freedom. And there absolutely is a fight going on for that creative freedom, freedom of speech, um, capitalism, right? Our freedoms. And these are things that are not to be taken lightly. And every single person should be standing up and saying something about this because if we don't, then y- you're silenced then. Then you don't, then it becomes where they know that they can take over. And I think a lot of this has to do with, um, you know, how everything went down with COVID, which is just so bizarre, right? And like how I firmly believe that it was like, well, let's just test this out and see if they'll listen, right? But you always have a choice no matter what. No matter what it looks like on the outside, you always have a choice to choose yourself, to choose to follow that within yourself that you know is what you need to do. And I mean, that's where I'm at right now is just staying in out of my survival mode. Okay. So a lot of these things too are happening so that you can get into this fear based zone of like, oh my God, the world's ending. Okay. That's not true. And it's just, it's like the darkness has to come out for it to come out to the light so that it can be healed. It's the same thing with our individual selves, right? And like, I can't tell you how much stuff that I have had to like go through as far as inner healing. But the point is just stay in your, we cannot depend on the things outside of us. Um, for our safety, for our health. Okay, so right, so like everything that's going on, if you're so focused on the outside, you're going to be in your survival mode nervous system. And when you're in that place, you cannot create. And it's like, that's what our whole mission is here. Every single human's purpose is to create, to understand how to manipulate energy. That is all of our purpose. You can call it manifestation, but I really see it now as learning how to manipulate energy, and that's creation, and that's everyone's purpose. And when you're in this fear, fight, flight mode of your nervous system, there's no creation there. So do your best to stay out of that and just focus on internally what you can do. Stay independent, stay free, and just keep choosing freedom of speech, keep choosing yourself, do what is best for you. Um, yeah, and if you have anyone that comes against you or attacks you for your beliefs, for what you feel like you need to say, for whatever it is, if you have anyone come up against you, know that they're the ones in fear because we all have free will and we are all different. And if someone doesn't accept you for your beliefs or who you are or whatever, then they're just not understanding diversity and free will and choice and all these things. So just know that you don't need to fight anybody. You get to have your beliefs, and no matter what anybody else says, you get to have your speech, no matter what anyone else says. And free speech includes hate speech and love speech and all kinds of speech. It's crazy to me what is being said with the censorship stuff. Like, w- misinformation is that's not even like what everyone has the right to speak, whether it's right or wrong. We don't really know. We just get to speak. That is why we have freedom of speech. So be aware of that. And if you feel like you really need to go at someone for what they believe or who they are, or maybe something that they say, um, just remember that, you want to keep your freedom and your rights. And so remember that that would be like a control thing, and kind of look at yourself and go, why? I want to be able to keep my beliefs and I want to be able to speak my truth. And so if I go at somebody else, then it's like I almost lose that in myself, right? Because we're all mirrors for each other energetically. So do unto others as you would have done unto you. Um, and it's so true, right? So anyway, I kept having this dream about that God is saying that He is restoring America, and to just trust the process. Even though it looks crazy out there, like it looks like they're taking over and it's going to be this weird socialist thing or even worse. Um, just know that sometimes, we can't see what's coming out, the other end. And so it truly is just exposing this stuff, the stuff that's been hidden, the corruption, the lies, the darkness. It's exposing it so that it can leave. And so we can get back to um, doing things for our country that are good, doing things for Americans that are good. If you look at codependency and all these other things, that's what it's all about. The job of our country is to take care of our country. The job of our government is to provide for our citizens, and that's like gone missing here. And it really needs to come back. But like I said, this bigger picture, like dream that I had was just like, listen, God's taking care of it. You just have to relax. And it's just exposing this stuff so it can be out of this country once and for all. So I hope that helps somebody, but I just needed to say it. And I hope you have a great day. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.